Welcome, students, for Stat 212 over summer 2025, I guess it is. Time really flies. And this is the second time I've made this video, so let's see if I can do this correctly without messing up my screen share. Okay, so let's start here. Let's do the class intro. This is a little bit about me. I am Scott Crawford. Students sometimes wonder what to call me. I typically go by Scott. I don't need the honorifics. Here's my family. Here's us playing board games because we enjoy that. That's my brother. We also like the Marvel movies. I served a church mission in Brazil for 2 years. My kids love playing Minecraft. Oh, they're into K-dramas now. Like, I don't know how or when that started, but that's a whole thing that my family seems to really love. Here's Brandon Sanderson books. I have the world's best cat. Like, I don't know how you feel about cats, but if you had this cat, you would love cats. Also have a dog. And just recently, so I don't even have a picture here because that's how recently we got a second dog. Did we need a second dog? No, let's not bring that up because this is supposed to be a happy video. My wife loves to go canoeing. My hobby is writing murder mystery parties, so there's that. Just some fun stuff about me that doesn't actually have to do with the class. What you want to know is, how is this class going to be different than Stat 211? Most of you are coming into this class having had Stat 211. If you came in from some other direction, don't be offended if I talk about Stat 211. Just replace it with whatever you use to get into the class. There's 1,300 students in Stat 211, 150 students in Stat 212. So we're going to teach 212 a little differently than 211, just naturally. The sheer sample size matters. Like 211, you get the answer, most people can get it, it's just automatic grading. There's no real ethical decisions. Stat 212 is like the difference between talking about going into the army and then Stat 212 is actually let's do the work, like doing all the push-ups or boot camp or whatever you would call it. Build the muscles. So what muscles do we need to build in order to get you ready for higher level stat classes? We need to talk about theory. For some of you, this will be the first time you've worked with mathematical proofs. We're going to help you, walk you through it. We'll talk about how to do it. So don't let it scare you. But yeah, that's going to be a muscle we want to do. We're going to talk more about how to use R. It should have been the 211 you at least saw the program, but we are going to delve more into it. And I deleted it from this computer so that you could actually watch me re-download that, and I'll show it. In fact, let's speed this up. What if I just started the download R right now? Uh, if you have Mac or Linux, it'll take you to whatever you need to download. But CRAN is the website here, right? CRAN.R project. And see, I tried making this movie or this video before, but there, now you can see it's starting to download that. Let's go back. Also, some statistical methods. So those are the three big pieces. Most students have two pieces they like, and the last one, meh, not so much. So maybe for you, it's the math and the programming, but not so much the statistical application. Like, that's fine. You do need to do all three pieces for this class. That's where the data scientist term comes from, is a combination of all these. So don't feel like there's something wrong with you if one of these three pieces is not what you like. Oh, look, it's done downloading. Okay, we are not only going to download R, we're also going to download something called R Studio, which is not actually a separate program. It just makes R look a lot nicer. And let's download that for Windows as well. That way we don't have to waste video time later trying to get there. Okay, so it did not. Oh no, why is it not? I said download. Did it do it? No, it just did R. Oh, I don't want this video to take a long time. Why? Okay, we were doing the class intro. Except now I am bugged and disturbed by why it did not download R. There. Save. Is it recognizing that I already did it in the video before? We'll come back to that. Okay, this is an online course over the summer, Monday through Friday. Now, I've had a lot of students email me saying, my summer schedule is crazy. I'm not sure I can make it. Oh, look, there. Now it did it. It was doing it. I was just being impatient. That's okay. So you can show up with Zoom. You could just watch the videos later. I'm going to have office hours, and the TA is also going to have office hours. I forgot to put the TA's email here, but you can email the TA and just say, hey, can we meet? Can we talk about things? I'll make sure that ends up in the syllabus. You can view the recordings of class, which is what I'm doing right now is a Zoom recording. So that's what it would feel like. The problem is if you're falling behind, it's up to you to advocate for yourself and make sure that you're getting whatever you need to be successful. For some of you, that's going to mean you need to come to class where you can ask questions. Great. Some of you, it means you need to set up with office hours or with the TA and talk to them. Some of them, maybe you need to look at the notes. I'll show you all those. Now, I know a lot of you are going to like GroupMe. Apparently is the thing that people, I thought it was Discord, but apparently now it's GroupMe. So whatever. I'm not going to tell you you can't make a GroupMe and talk with each other because you're going to do it whether I allow it or not. What I am going to say is don't do that thing where a lot of you get together and make a GroupMe and then not everybody gets invited. Don't leave students out, okay? Let's invite everyone in. If somebody makes a GroupMe, like let's ask on the first day of class if somebody has a GroupMe link. I know you probably don't want the teacher on it, that's normal, but make sure that everybody in class at least has access to that. So if somebody wants to create that, then make sure everybody gets invited. And on that, don't just give homework answers. That doesn't help anybody. You're trying to build the muscles. Explain how to get the answers. That's what we really want to be sharing as you guys talk about homework. And of course, when it comes to exams, wait until everybody's done with the exam before we're sharing information on that. Okay, let's talk about the summer schedule because normally this is like 5 months and we're compressing it down to 1 month. So every day is like half a week. A week is 3 weeks. This is important because if you get sick and you lose a week, that's not, oh, well, I guess let's try to get back on track. No, that should be panic mode, right? Contact the teacher and say, hey, something's happened. I'm losing 2 days. Okay, let's make a plan, make sure that we can get you back up. You have homework due every other day. I tried it once where I put all the homeworks like towards the end of the summer. That was not kind to students, apparently. I thought it was being kind. No, it was not. So we have homework due basically every other day. We'll look, in fact, why don't we just look right now? Here's our assignments. First one is due July 5th. Well, okay, no, hang on. It's due July 4th. It's not an accident that you can actually still do it July 5th. That means you're doing an assignment after the due date. Like I'm allowing that on purpose. If you start consistently doing that, that's your clue that there's something wrong in the way you're approaching the class. There's something wrong in how you're handling things. Always finishing the assignment the day after it's due is not the plan. This is a backup plan. It'll help you know where you're at. So July 4th, July 7th, July 9th, right? About every other day we have one of these. It is weird that we have Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday is July 4th. So there's a holiday. A holiday 3 days into class feels weird, but that's how summer schedule goes. We're actually going to look at some of these assignments in just a little bit, but I don't want the video too long. Let's try to move on. Who does this to themselves? Some of you have already seen this material before because maybe you took Stat 212. There's no shame in needing to retake a class. It just means it takes you a little longer. Who cares if it takes you 6 months instead of 5 months? Or maybe you're coming from another university, so you've already seen it and they required you to take the class. Fine. Some of you know that it's going to be a lot of hard work and you're willing to put in that hard work. Cool. This is great. Some of you are the kind who just don't need to work hard and you just understand everything. We hate you because life's unfair, but that's great. I bring this up because some of you decided to take this class over the summer thinking that if it's a 5-month class squished into 1 month, we're just going to cut out a bunch of the class. No, this class has everything you need from Stat 212 just compressed. So don't come into this thinking it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard work, but we can do it. And I will help you know the things that you need to know in order to be able to do this. Okay? Mathematical theory. Let me go to my webpage. Okay, so if you go people.tamu.edu/Scott Crawford, this is my homepage, all right? And I have a Stat 212 list here. And this is last year's video, so I'm going to replace it with the one I'm making right now. But here's a link to the syllabus. Ooh, this is fun. So I made this last year and decided to let students see it. This is what I plan on teaching. I need to go through and actually mark which ones are covered on day 1, which ones are covered on day 2. So I'm going to try to do that this semester. We'll see how this goes. But here's a list of all the things you need. Let's go back. What else? We were talking theory. So let's do our commands in a second. The rules for doing theory. If you've never done a mathematical proof before, you feel really scared and intimidated, that's all right. First off, all the stuff we're doing in 212 are going to be things people have talked about for 150 years. It's not going to be hard to look up the solution. A lot of these are on Wikipedia. Even ChatGPT can do this now, okay? But if you get a solution, you still have to write it out, okay? So I do want it handwritten. Handwritten might be you do paper and then you take a picture, probably with your phone, and upload it. Maybe handwritten means you're handwriting on your iPad. So don't use one of those programs that changes your handwriting into text, because then it looks to me like you just copied and pasted, and that's not building muscle. We're trying to build statistical muscle here. So I do want to be able to tell individual handwriting. Also, it means that you can't just copy someone else's theory homework, because I do get half decent at being able to tell people's handwriting apart. And yes, we've had issues with that in the past. So yeah, it needs to be your own handwriting. You need to show each step, which is tricky, right? How much of a step counts as a step? Can I do 2 steps at once? We'll talk about that. I'll do examples. Hopefully we'll get better with it. Last semester, there was a bunch of people who scribbled out sections. Fine, I get that. That's cool. That's not actually a problem. Sometimes we'll have summations and it'll have like I equals 1, those kind of notations. If you start to leave some of those off, but feels like it was obvious, I'm okay with that. I do that too. You'll notice in some of my notations. But next to each step, a little explanation. So for example, MS is just math simplification. I just did algebra here. Or by definition. These are things that I noticed people use a lot in Stat 212. Moving a summation, this zeroes out. Here I'm adding 0, right? Because you add something and then subtract it. There's reasons why that's helpful. Timesing by 1, because you need something in the denominator. I'll show you why these will work. Those of you who've done math proofs are like, oh yeah, these are tricks that are very useful and helpful. So putting a little note to the side of what step you did and why, that's going to be important. By the way, some tricks. When you're moving a summation through its polynomial, put the sum on each piece. That's not going to make sense till we actually go through it. But yeah, here's some tricks I noticed we do a lot in this class. If it's a sum, notice like it's a sum of I equals 1 to infinity, and I shows up on X, but I doesn't show up on N. So N is just a constant. Notice what things are constant or not. So these are things we'll practice. This is like the very first video of class. It may not make sense to you right now. That's okay. Just we have a page here dedicated to the theory homework. Also, in case you are intimidated by the R stuff, here's a whole list of the basic commands. This looks like a long list. It's actually not as long as it looks because, for example, I'm just showing different ways to access a data set called X, right? So these 4 are actually the same thing in different ways. Like one of these does plot, and there's like lots of, see right here? Plot, plot, plot. I'm really just showing that you can do X limit, you can do Y limit, you can change the color, labels, and we will practice this. People often feel really intimidated by learning R. So, oh, no, where's this? Oh, here we go. Here's the slide on R, right? You're going to start by hating it. A lot of you love Python. I get it. That's not weird. We used to hate Python, and now with time, we're like, Python's not actually that bad of a program. Sadly, the upper level stat classes still use R. So you got to learn R. Eventually, you'll get to where you can do things in it, or you know what to do, and then you can look up what you need, and then you're going to start to love it. Usually, it takes 1 or 2 semesters to get there. So half of you will love R by the time we're done. The other half will love R by the time you're done with your next stat class. And if you really hate computer programming, that's not weird, okay? Hang in there. Let's talk about the non-theory assignments. Those are quizzes. Those are done in Canvas. Canvas is different than WebAssign, which is what we use in 211, okay? For example, you have to do the whole assignment and then submit it to see what you got right or wrong. WebAssign, you can do each question. I like that better, but that's not the way Canvas works, okay? So you can redo the assignment 3 times. When you do, it's not going to tell you what you got right or wrong last time. So you've got to probably pull up 2 windows. One window will have the assignment that got graded before, and then another window for your new assignment. And then you go through and fill out the questions. What kind of questions? Like multiple choice, fill in the blank, numeric, those sorts of things. So Let me know if you see something wrong. For some reason, Canvas does not have spell checker, which bugs me because because I thought I was good at spelling, and then afterwards I look back and I'm like, ooh, that was not great. So um, you can get ahead if you wait until the very last day to do the assignments, and then you send me an email saying, hey, my car got a flat tire and it caused problems. I know I get that, but I have to be fair to all the students, and you wait until the last day. So I do not recommend people wait until the very last day to do the assignments. Let's go actually take a look here. This one is a quiz, and this one is a theory assignment. So we'll look at a quiz first because that's the one that's actually due first. And a lot of this is going to be load up. It remembers that I've done this video before trying to do this. A lot of these are going to be load up R and read this file set. So here's the name. There's the name of the data set. We will talk about how do you read this into R and plot it. Some, like a higher level stat class, they would be put the plot here. But then the grader has to go through and actually grade all those plots, which takes time. I want you to be able to see whether you're getting it right or wrong instantly. So instead, look through these and match this to the plot you did. So one of these matches the plot. Now do the same thing, but this time use log of bacteria instead of just bacteria. Now which one? I think the next question says which one works better. Oh yeah, which one was better? Straight bacteria or log of bacteria or neither, whatever. Find best predictive equations. So we are going to talk about how to do all these on the first day of class. At the very bottom is the submit button for the whole assignment. And then it'll tell you what you got right or wrong. That's the quiz ones. Let's go back. Keep going back. Oh my goodness, just go to the assignments and there. Okay, theory homework, right? So this is the one that has to be like handwritten and then sent as a file somewhere. So show that this summation equals 0. Okay, so how do we do that? So, oh, I'm tempted. No, sum of xi minus x bar. Do you see what I said about leaving off these notations? The I equals 1 to n. I'm okay if you left that off. But move the summation through each piece equals minus sum of x bar. What explanation? This is just moving sum. I can't remember. I think we had some shortened notation for that. There's step 1. So we will not finish the rest of this because how do I erase? Oh, here we go. Okay. And then when you get to the bottom, you would have to upload an assignment. Why does, oh, I didn't click start assignment. Start assignment, and now here you could upload your file that has those images for us to grade. Okay, what else are we supposed to talk about? We talked about the quizzes, we talked about learning R. Oh, the exams. Okay, so one option is tell everybody to come in to take the exam. This is an online class. We don't want to do that. The other option is to tell everybody you have to get online at this specific time to proctor the exams. Summer is crazy. Lots of people have tough schedules. So here's what we're going to try to do instead. Get a device, which is probably going to be your cell phone. You set your cell phone here. It needs to be able to see your desk and your computer screen. Obvious reasons. Your desk to make sure that you're not on your phone looking stuff up, and your computer screen to make sure that you're not chatting or chat GPTing or whatever else to get your answers. Okay. And then you just upload that video, and that'll be the proctoring, and it'll be my job to go all the way through them. Some students feel weird about that. Like, I don't want to record myself in my bedroom. Then don't do it in your bedroom. Okay. Do it wherever you feel comfortable, however you feel comfortable. That's great. I do need to be able to see desk and all computer screens. Oh, last year. So we did have somebody who was dropping stuff into ChatGPT. We also had somebody who had a computer screen hidden off to the side. Yeah, so let's not do that. Okay, those don't end up as happy stories. You do have to take it on a specific day, but you can pick when, and that's because people have crazy summer schedules. Many students use Zoom. That's what I'm doing to make this recording right now, is a Zoom recording. If I put it on my phone off to the side, then you could see desk and computer. It is like a Scantron test. It's 5 options per question, a whole bunch of questions. You can use R, but it's the exam is not going to ask you to do R programming. Because let's face it, you miss one semicolon and suddenly nothing works. That is so frustrating. So we're not going to do that. The reason you would use R is basically the same as a calculator. Why don't I just let you use a calculator? Because it's hard to tell the difference between a student using a calculator and a cell phone. So there we go. There's that one. Let's actually, because I undownloaded all this from my computer and I would like to have R back. And this is not the first time I've actually made this video, and it's very annoying. So here we install R. You have to install R first, and then we install RStudio. RStudio is, I think it's called a wrapper, is what they call it. It's not actually a different program. It just runs R and makes it look pretty. So you can see it goes decently fast. It's not a huge amount of memory space on the computer, and it's not super intense resource-wise. So, oh, and if you really have a beef with it, look for download R Portable. There's a way that you can install R onto a jump drive, and then you never actually install the program on your computer. I do this if there's a computer where I have to have administrator rights and I don't have administrator rights. So you can download it to a jump drive, and then you plug the jump drive in and you run it off the jump drive. That actually works. That's only R, not RStudio, but it does work really well. There's R. Now, how about RStudio? And my memory says this one takes a hot minute to start, but oh, well, actually, that actually went really fast. And it looks like it's climbing really slow until it gets about right here, and then suddenly it'll jump. The only thing it's doing is it's organizing the pieces of the program in nice little boxes. We talked as a department about whether we should encourage students to use RStudio, and it was decided if you're learning R for the first time, RStudio really does help you to keep track of everything. So that's why we're doing it. See what I tell you. Once it gets past a certain spot, then it starts to go really fast. In a second, it's going to pop up a box saying, which version of R are you using? Because RStudio is not a separate program. If you don't have any options there, which this does happen, what it means is you did not install R first. You have to install R first and then RStudio. Hurry up and load. I'm trying to stall the video so that students don't get frustrated. Some of you are probably playing this on double speed, which makes me sound like a chipmunk. It's very insulting. I swear. Okay, there we go. This is the part, not the part. Great. I guess I have to run it first. So let's go RStudio right here. And because this is my work computer and I'm going to use this a lot, I want to pin this to my taskbar so that it'll be easier to find next time. Oh, it actually remembered what I was doing last time I made a video. Let's kill that because this is what you're going to see when you first load it up, except there will be nothing here. Erase all those. Okay, this is what it'll look like. Oh, it didn't ask me which version of R I wanted to use. That usually is a pop-up box, and usually just the default top option is the one you want. I like to go here to create a new R script. This R script is like scratch paper. I can do anything I want on my scratch paper. I could do stuff like 1 divided by 0. I could do 5 plus 4. Nothing is running. Down here is where the computer is. So now if I go Control Enter, Mac users, it's Command Enter. Now I sent this command to the computer and it's like, I don't know what the word scratch paper means. Oh no, I wanted to send this one. Infinity. Okay, how about 5 plus 4? There, we actually did something nice. And if you load data or store things like I want X to have 1, 2, 3, C for combination, I have now created a box called X and put values in there. This is stuff we're going to talk about more on the first day of class. I'm just showing you how it organizes things. Let's plot a dot. And look, there's a dot at 1, 1. So here's plots. Here's a list of things you've stored. Here's your scratch paper. Here's where the actual computer is running. RStudio organizes that all nicely. So that's why we used RStudio. Okay, I think I have mentioned everything, but I'm sure there's something I forgot. So if you have questions, feel free to email me. I didn't put my email. We gotta do, let's go there. Are we sharing this screen? Yes, we are. Well, oh, There, scottcrawford@tamu.edu. There is my email. If you have questions, you can shoot me an email. And I will see you on Wednesday. Or you'll see me if you watch the video later. Oh, that was end share screen, not end the video. Awkward.